I, 30, female, am about to be a mother to a baby girl and marry the love of my life this month. Everything was going great till I finally decided to put my foot down and end things with my selfish family. I lost my mother to cancer at the age of 5. My father married my stepmother when I was around 10. My stepmom, 45, female, was never too concerned about me or paid much attention to me, but neither did she try to control me in any way. Later on, I realized she was busy controlling my dad, 50, male. She was playing a way bigger game that was beyond the understanding of a 10-year-old. My stepbrother, 20, male, was always the golden child who got all the attention. It started with forgotten birthdays and school plays and went to the point where my parents didn't even know which grade I was in. I was just existing in their house, and honestly, till a certain point, I didn't have a problem with that because I like being on my own. Although sometimes I wish my dad would pay more attention to me and be more loving like he used to before he started dating my stepmom. Things took a turn when my dad and stepmom insisted that I join college and figure out a way of paying for it myself because they won't be helping me through it. I was shocked. I thought my dad would have some savings to get me through college. When I asked him about it, they said that they had decided to not use that up because my bratty stepbrother has plans and a vision which I lacked. This idea was planted into my dad's head by my stepmom, who always painted my brother as a child with great potential, even though I had much better grades than him. I quickly realized how unwanted I was, and thus, without much fuss, I moved out within a week and took up a waitressing job at a cafe near my campus. During this whole time, none of my family members reached out to me to even ask about my whereabouts or how I was holding up. Later on, I took up another job as a cashier and struggled with college and 2 jobs. All this while my parents didn't let my stepbro lift a finger to do any work. One fine day, I got a call from my stepmom informing me about my dad's decision to give the inheritance to my stepbro. I was shocked. They gave me only 5 grand and everything else, including the house, to my brother because he needed it more than I did. That was probably the most illogical thing I have heard in my entire life. I was the one who was living on my own, had to pay my tuition, and had to juggle 2 jobs, but who cares, right? I'm not the golden child. I didn't have enough money to engage a lawyer or file a case, so I vowed to never speak to my family again. Meanwhile, I met Richard, 32, male, not real name, my fiance, while working as a waitress in that cafe. I would like to point out here that unlike me, Richard has a great connection with his family. He was trying to be an entrepreneur when we met, and within a few months of dating, he got the funding and now owns a successful business. When I became pregnant, Richard's family were wonderful to me. His mom would come over with groceries while his dad or brother would take me to the doctor for checkups. Richard had to work hard during this time because his business was just taking off, and whenever he got some time off, he would always try to make things more comfortable for me. He asked me to move in with him. That way, it would be easier for him to be more present during the pregnancy. I was touched. Nobody had cared for me that much since I lost my mother. I remember crying and telling him how much I loved him. Soon we decided to get married before welcoming our baby girl into the world. I asked my fiance's younger brother to be my daughter's godfather, and obviously, he was my husband's best man. For the first time in a really long time, I looked forward to the future. One day, I got a call from my stepbrother. He told me that he found out I was about to get married to Richard through social media and slowly started questioning me more and more about my fiance's business ventures. and congratulated me and asked me when I would be introducing my fiance to him. I was taken aback and asked him directly what was he going on about. He pretended to be offended and played the family card and how he wanted to be around my daughter while discussing funding with my fiance for his startup idea. He said that he was looking forward to be my daughter's godfather. I understood what he was after and dropped the bomb. He wasn't going to be the godfather, and neither did we want him around. My baby will have enough love from my husband's family and me, and before he could utter one word, I cut the call. The next day, I received a call from my dad. He was furious. He accused me of being selfish and forgot what the family had done for me. I pointed out that they didn't even give me an equal share of the inheritance or pay for my college. He said, I can't believe you have held this against your little brother. We are family. You need us. We should help each other. I almost laughed. Before cutting the call, I let him know that not only is my stepbrother not my daughter's godfather, but also that they are all not invited to the wedding. I don't know what to feel or how to move forward. Should I have been nicer to my dad and tried to explain everything to him? AITA? Update 1. My stepbrother reached out to my fiance through social media and spewed a bunch of lies about how I was marrying him for his money and how I have always been like this. He even went to the extent of showing my fiance fake screenshots of me chatting with my ex, where I am asking him for money. I have never done that. I have always been very self-righteous and worked 2 jobs to pay through everything. Luxury was never on the cards. He told Richard that he deserved better than some broke chick. My fiance pointed out to him that we started dating when he was only starting and not rich at all, and put him in his place by saying that the broke chick he was referring to was his future wife, and thus should be addressed with basic human decency. My fiance was well aware of the situation in my family. I feel weird when I think what would have happened had I not come clean to Richard in the beginning itself. Richard blocked him on social media. My wedding is next week. I can't wait to marry the love of my life. I hope my bratty stepbrother doesn't pull any stunt. Update 2. It has been a nightmare. My wedding day was around the corner. Like I told you guys in my last update, so I couldn't give you guys the deets. But here's what happened. Even though my family wasn't invited to the wedding, my dad and stepbrother turned up on the wedding day. My dad insisted on walking me down the aisle and started interacting with my husband's side of the family. He casually told my husband's brother that I had asked my stepbrother to be my daughter's godfather. That was an outright lie. I immediately called them out, and in turn, they started creating a scene where my dad started playing the victim, saying that he only wanted to walk his daughter down the aisle, as that's what my mother would have wanted. Yeah, right. She would have also wanted you to be a father to your only daughter, but obviously that part went right out the window. I'd had enough. I asked them to leave. They started abusing my husband's family, telling them that they had manipulated me to forsake my own family. I had to call security on them to escort them out. The rest of the ceremony was without trouble, but the spirit was, well, my big day was successfully ruined. Although the vows my husband read out were so sweet that my mood lifted at least to a certain level. Update 3. Hi, Reddit. We have welcomed our baby girl into this world. The child is healthy by God's grace. I have got no contact with my family, and they have not tried reaching out to us either. Being a new mother is hectic. Last week, we got a legal notice notifying me that my dad had changed the will and disinherited me completely. Well, I had seen that one coming, so it was not a surprise. It doesn't matter because now I have my husband and a job too, so it's all good. NTA, like, excuse me? Your family had it coming. LOL. How could your dad do that to you? I can only imagine how difficult it would have been. You did the right thing, girlie. Also, your husband is a gem of a man. Your husband's family is going to be there for your baby girl and you. I can already tell that they like you a lot. Thank God your baby will get the love of at least one set of grandparents. You did the right thing by not making your stepbrother your baby's godfather. He sounds like a bad influence. Congratulations on your wedding and baby girl. I hope you get peace of mind and stay in good health. Sending hugs and love. NTA, your stepbrother is an entitled, selfish brat who deserves nothing but the worst. The fact that you were civil to them till the end is surprising enough, girl. I would be throwing hands as soon as I would have seen them at my venue. Are you kidding me? Dude had the guts to lie to your husband's family? How embarrassing is that? And how cheap. Next story. A little background. My husband and I, both 34, have two kids, Axel, 6, male, and daughter, Ashley, 10. Ashley is not my bio daughter. She is my husband's from his previous relationship. Her bio mother, Mina, unfortunately died on the day Ashley was born. However, I have known Ashley since she was a little under 2, and we have always had a good relationship. She calls me mom and her late mother mommy when we talk about her. To clear things up, I adopted Ashley when my husband and I got married because of many reasons unrelated to this post. But it was a decision all three of us made unanimously and are very happy with. This means if my husband and I were to divorce or anything were to happen to him, Ashley would still be my daughter and I would still be obliged to take care of her. My mother in law is not happy with this at all. She has always been an absolute nightmare about it and made hurtful comments every chance she gets. According to my sister in law and brother in law, she was looking forward to my husband and Mina's wedding and is still sad about Mina's death. She doesn't think anyone could be ever good enough to be Ashley's stepmom, let alone adopt her. It all came to a head last night. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were over for dinner. I had just bought dessert out when mother-in-law gave a cookie box to Ashley and said, "Give this to your mom." So Ashley brought it to me. Mother-in-law then corrected her and said, "That's your dad's wife, not your mom. The one who takes care of you is your mom." She also gave my son a chocolate box with similar instructions. The kids were confused, but I knew she was talking about their part-time nanny. I work from home and sometimes I get to spend the whole day with them, but other times my schedule is crazy, so my nanny steps in to pick them from school and take care of them on my crazy scheduled days. I asked my mother-in-law what she meant by that, and she said, with my logic, a mother is a person who takes care of you. So, since I think it's okay for Ashley to call me mom, it's hypocritical if I don't think both Ashley and Axel can call the nanny mom. My husband told her she was being disrespectful. Father-in-law excused himself and they both left early, so the argument didn't escalate. But after thinking about it, I'm worried what kind of things mother-in-law might tell the kids in private. Especially Ashley, who has always known she is not my bio daughter. They spend every other Saturday with their grandparents, and so mother-in-law would have plenty of time to mess with their minds. My husband is going to talk to her tomorrow since he couldn't say much with the kids in the room, but I think this time mother-in-law crossed a major line and should not be allowed to spend time with them unmonitored. So WIBTA if I enforce this rule? Edit. Father-in-law doesn't always agree with mother-in-law, but he never voices his opinion, so I don't think his presence counts as monitored. NTA whatsoever. Limit contact between mother-in-law and your kids. Zero contact even, because she has proven herself to be hateful in public. She'd be a lot worse in private. Her behavior is totally out of line. Encouraging the children to see the nanny as their mom is beyond bizarre and inappropriate. She's encouraging them not to see you as their mom, much less any sort of authority figure. Nip it in the bud, OP. NTA, it's pretty clear this has been brewing for some time in mother-in-law's head. And who knows what other lies she's been whispering to the kids while in her care. She absolutely no longer deserves time with her grandkids. You are a mom. You stepped up and built a relationship with Ashley, caring for her and giving your unconditional love and respect. That's what a mom does. Just because your work schedule prevents you from doing 100% of the childcare duties 24/7 doesn't make you any less of a mom. NTA, your mother-in-law is toxic. Did she feel like your daughter's mother in any way before you started dating your husband? Her behavior doesn't shout grief as much as jealousy to me. Your children should not be allowed alone with her. First, for the toxic things she will say to your daughter, and then my fear of how she will treat your son, as he is biologically related to you. Her words could do serious harm to your children's mental health and your family. If they do still see her unsupervised, I suggest a therapist a few times a month for them to discuss their feelings. The cookie thing is over the top. Next story. I, 21, male, have a sister, 17, female, who usually gets a ride home from school. This ride home from school is given by one of my parents about 99% of the time. They're both older and pretty much retired, so they have the free time. I'm in university currently doing my last year of a pretty heavy science degree. I live at home because my uni is fairly close. My sister thinks that because I live at home and don't have a job, this means that I have no responsibilities and infinite free time. This truly isn't the case, but I never saw a point in arguing it, so I didn't bother to contact when she makes her little comments at me. You're lazy, etc. Last week, she wanted a ride home from school from me. At first, she texted me, "Hey, OP, can I please get a ride home from school?" She texted me this with around 2 hours before school would be let out, so I told her that I wasn't sure because I was at the library, but that I would think about it. Around an hour later, she texted me again. "I really don't see why you can't give me a ride. It's not like you have any real obligations." I responded with basically the same thing, saying, "I'm not sure if I can." Finally, about a half hour before school let out, she said, "OP, it's literally freezing out. Don't be an ass and drive me home." I caved and left the library to drive her home. On the ride home, I commented that the weather was actually pretty nice, about 10 degrees Celsius with a bit of a drizzle. It's clear she took this as an insult or something because she responded with, "Oh my God, you're so freaking lazy. You don't even have a job. Stop freaking complaining and just drive." Something about this particular comment set me off, so I pulled over and told her to get out. I didn't yell, but when she protested, I said, "Get the frick out before I flip my shit." She walked home, and when she got home, she was bawling her eyes out. Later that night, my mom got mad at me. However, I responded by saying that it's literally a 5-minute drive and a 15-minute walk. It's not like I made her run a marathon or anything. So, Reddit, AITA? Premature edit. Just to remove any confusion, the walk home is 15 minutes in a suburban area. I walked home every day when I went to that school, but the family dynamic was different back then. NTA, I'll probably get downvoted, but oh well. My sister is like this too. She only talks to me when she wants something and can be a huge jerk pretty much always. It's not like you left her in the middle of nowhere at night. She's 17 and can walk 15 minutes through some neighborhoods. School is a lot of work. It's awesome you are able to live at home and focus on it. My degree is in a science related field, and those last few semesters are intense. Keep up the hard work and don't let her or anyone else get to you. NTA, the entitlement is strong with this one. 10 degrees Celsius is chilly, but it's nothing that a jacket or a good hoodie can't handle. Uni is full time. A full course load expects a full 40 hours a week of work. Between readings, lectures, tutorials, study assignments, you have a full time workload. When I was at uni, they literally told you in each course guide how much time it was expected you spent on the work each week. Tell your sister that. As far as she is now concerned, your education is your work. If you are working, you are unavailable. If you couldn't expect a reasonable boss to let you go, you are unavailable. Having to pick a 17-year-old up from school because they are whining that it's cold is not reasonable. Remind your mother that your sister badgered you to pick her up from school, interrupting your education. Not only that, but she was neglecting her own too, since she spent so much time at school on her phone. She's wasting both of your education and being rude about it. NTA, she was and always has been disrespectful about your time. She may not take high school seriously, but college can be, and most often is, a lot more time consuming as far as studying goes. Class time and overall mental health consuming. When she learns to respect your time and respect that you do have things to do, maybe she'll change. Doubt it though. She seems insufferable and entitled and spoiled. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.